Hey folks, Cool18 here, and welcome to another episode of Let's Play Football Manager 2017. And today we're going to be showing an away game. And why is that? Well, a couple of different reasons. One, there are 3 away games in a row, and we might be making a couple of changes to our tactics here. You know, we're experimenting with a couple of different things, and the last thing I wanted is to spend too much time away from the video and come back with everything is different. The other thing is, I actually just spent 11 days between games. Having to deal with a whole bunch of stuff. There's a lot of contract negotiations. I actually replaced my assistant manager over here. We have brought on board Nick Harvey, who's quite old. No, not Nick Harvey. Sorry, my bad. Terry Harris over here. He's quite old, at 60 years old, but his stats are a lot higher than Neil Scaley, and in particular, a good deal of stats, which hopefully should help out the team overall. So a little things like that. Been doing some searching, been doing some looking around at some stuff. So it felt like you know, it might have been important to talk about that. The other thing is, my August is insanely booked. I just got back from a trip, and like in 2 days I'm leaving for another trip, so I have a limited amount of time for recording. And what I didn't want to do is take like 2 hours or something of possible recording time to run 3 away games and all the in-between bits in there, and not have a video show for it. So we're going to be playing 3 away games, most likely, here, back to back. Today we are playing against Kilmarnock, our local rivals, in a little derby here. We are going to be playing the 4-3-3 again, because I'm kind of curious to see how things are going to go. I am going to take, some people gave some great feedback about this, pointing out that in this kind of composition, a lot of it is going to be, our so-called striker is really going to be playing a lot of the game with his back to the goal over here, looking to probably play as a target man and maybe play and connect the ball to really the attacking midfielders, which is where the attacks are going to come from. So either play them as something like a shadow striker or just an attacking midfielder, as opposed to an Gancha or something like that, because this will encourage them to try to take the shot instead of finding all the passes. We're going to go with this. We've got a couple of injuries. Andy Gigan, of course, still out. He's going to be out for a while longer, another 2 to 5 weeks, with his hip injury that's held him back for a little while. Craig McGuffey actually took an injury over here. Just an abdominal strain. I think he was out for about a week and a half, and he's nearly back. He should be ready for whatever our next match is going to be. Pope also injured out here. He's ready to come back soon, but not quite yet. Which means Jamie Thomas really is our only choice of starting striker. Both Alan Forrest and to a greater extent Daryl Fortis are relatively comfortable playing in a bit of a striker role. Fortis in particular, I think, is going to be the best pick as a sub for Jamie Thomas, is if we need another target man over here. Alan Forrest and Daryl Fortis are both okay with playing as attacking midfielders, although we don't have an incredible amount of depth in that particular setup either. But I think it's going to be okay. We got our midfielders set up in here. No ball-winning midfielder in the current comp. Just going to play Musendo as a generic supporting central midfielder. Although, maybe I want to make him a little bit more explicitly defensive. I think this is going to be okay. We're going to go in with a bit of a counter mentality, which is going to pull back people a little bit more. I mean, they're still going to look to support the attack, but they're not going to go quite as deep as if it was a standard or a control type mentality. It is an away game, so we've got to, you know, pay a little bit of attention to the fact that they're not going to be domestic, but there you go. We also got our youth intake came in for Scotland on March the 1st, so we have a whole bunch of new people in on our youth team, including some people with some pretty interesting stats. We've got Ryan Nicol over here, goalkeeper, who's got potential for a lot of really high ability goalkeeping. Jim Gray, I believe, just came in over here, defensive player, and again, a lot of possible potential ability. I don't like his work rate right now. That might mean he's not going to develop quite as fully. We'll see how it goes. Jason Oliveira was actually someone who I recruited a little while ago, and we don't currently have need for him on the primary team, so I want to make sure that he keeps developing his ability on the under-20s for now. We can always pull him up into the main squad whenever we need him. Ryan Love, I believe, was just generated this year as well. You know, so right midfielder, not attacking midfielder, although he could potentially play in that position. Most likely this is someone we might just develop and then sell. I mean, his value's already up a little bit higher, so we'll keep him around for a bit, maybe like a, you know, part of a season, and we'll see what we can do. So we got a few interesting potential people here. Not much in terms of like striker attacking midfielder position, but we got a couple of people in there. I don't think there's like an easy way to quickly find, like, if I go to, you know, world transfers over here, and then I can check all the youth intakes, but I can't seem to add any stats to this. So in terms of, like, I guess I could do like a generic scout all these people. This actually might work better if instead of going world. Actually, that's a good idea. Let's say I went to Europe. No, nations, Scotland. Transfers. This is a good idea. I should have done this a little sooner, maybe. Youth intakes. Why is it blank? Because it clearly happened. Oh, does it happen at the end of September or February? Okay, that's fine. And what I could do is take a look at all these new youth intakes here and do at least a bit of a token. 550. Just get an initial scouting report. I mean, we're gonna get a little bit spammed, but that should be okay. So we'll get a bit of a token look at these guys and a base idea, and then maybe we can do a little bit more direct scouting of some of these people. If they've got some real potential. So we'll see. But we got to play Kilmarnock today. Championship preview. Excellent. And Pope has passed his fitness test. 45 minutes of action. Yeah, I think we'll just sideline him completely. That's going to be okay. So it is not a surprise. A little cool and rainy today. Very good pitch over at Kilmarnock. 5,000 tickets sold is pretty good. Sort of midline referee here. We've been splitting the wins between us and Kilmarnock. One of their players is doubtful. Of course, some of our players are basically non-existent, which is a little bit unfortunate. Kilmarnock is 5th overall. We are still in 2nd. 29 games played. So I believe that does mean 7 left in the championship here. So it'll be interesting to see. Again, we're pretty close, I think, to clinching 2nd place. But and you know what? Maybe this is a great idea. There we go. A great time to try out some of these different tactics. If we are relatively secure in 2nd place, it's not free or guaranteed, but relatively secure. Try out a couple of different tactics to perhaps consider to bring into the playoffs and see how that goes. Because Fortis and LeBaron are both available right now, so we could be playing with the 2 attacking midfielders on the wings over there. But I think we'll do this today, and then what we'll do is tomorrow we'll bring them back in and, you know, try a couple of different things. Are you confident in your squad's ability not to let their tempers get the better of them and things get tempestuous? Well, I hope so. It's about striking a balance. Don't want to play passively and let them take the initiative. Yeah, it's because it's a local team, right? Last meeting went 0-0. We're going to be the favorites. I mean, come on, we got to say that. Of course we are. Yeah, it was 0-0. So they're going to play just a regular sort of 4-4-2. That should be okay. Yeah, we'll bring in there. We got a pyramid scheme going in here. Weaker foot. Oh my God, Terry Harris does not think we should tackle absolutely everyone hard. Look at that. Coaching style general, playing mentality adventurous, tactical knowledge 14. I believe he has more tactical knowledge than our previous coach, plus a couple other things going on. So yes, wonderful. I think this is relatively reasonable. So you want to tightly mark. Let's take a look at the relative speeds over here. Not super fast. That's not so crazy. Tim Chow. Again, not super fast, so it's probably not crazy to tightly mark them. Excellent. I'm very happy about this. Listen, we're gonna be passionate about this and say, go out there and give this fans money's worth. Excellent. Morale is pretty good. I'm not going to say too much else and get people messed up. A little bit of rain. Yeah, so we get to see a different pitch for a change, something that we don't tend to see very often in this series this time because we have only been televising the home games, only been seeing Somerset Park. We are going to be in red today, not to be confused with the team in the red trunks. We're in the red shirt. Paul Kearney getting tired pretty fast here. Terry Harris with a little bit more advice. For all we know, it's a little bit more accurate. We'll see. To Jones! Oh my God. It's 10 minutes in, and they were able to get a shot off the box, from inside the box with tons of people in the way, actually. Make possession. Well, we'll take a look at some of these numbers here. Possession is indeed in favor of Kilmarnock 15 minutes in, which isn't entirely great. I think what we'll do is we might encourage maybe more of a shorter passing game. We will, you know what, I'm going to remove some of these instructions. We're gonna go like that a little bit more. It's a little bit more passive. I think that's gonna be okay. I mean, I don't think the instructions were what necessarily led to that particular score, although if we can, pass completion rate 76% wasn't bad though. Possession's low. Guess we just haven't had a chance with the ball. One shot on target wasn't even deemed worthy to show off. Well, all right then. That's, I don't know, a little bit sad-making. Yeah, Paul Kearney, I don't know why he's getting quite so tired. Gap between our defensive line and our midfield that the opposition might take advantage of. That's some new advice coming in from Terry Harris that we weren't seeing before, but I don't know, man. I think we're going to leave it be. All right, on the offense, Crawford to Musendo. Over to Ryan Stevenson, who's going to send it wide to Tony Ralston, playing as a support wing back, crossing in front of the net. A little too close there, and it is successfully cleared away. That is a damn shame. Jamie Thomas bringing an offside, which starts a new offensive play for Kilmarnock here. We might, with their position a little higher, I wonder if we might want to try to close down a little bit faster. Or if that's just going to pull more people out of position. There you go. Crane with a beautiful interception. Gets it centered to Gary Fraser over there. Send it far forward to Thomas, of course playing as a target man. Bounces it quite far back to Musendo. Over to Fraser. I don't think Fraser's going to get as many opportunities for his long shots with this particular structure here. Although, there we go. Thomas doing that thing, again, as exactly as people described it in YouTube comments. Sort of playing with his back to the pitch. People are passing to him, and then he's reconnecting the ball somewhere else to maybe set something up. Although he did take a shot there. We'll see exactly how that goes. Stevenson's going to take a free kick. Keep moving on. 33 minutes in, down a point from a very early goal. None of our players really standing out as particularly promising in terms of performance. I mean, it could be that the 4-3-3 is no good. It could just be a bad game. Again, it's away, so everything's going to be a little skewed there. Thomas heads it over to Fraser. Sends it deep forward to Stevenson, who sends it just wide. It hits the netting, but outside of the post. A damn shame. That's probably our best scoring opportunity so far. We have been outshot 5-3. Possessions coming a little closer together, which is good. Pass completions up to 81% now. I think that's going to be A-okay. That is a little less great there with the interception, unfortunately. Musendo with a nice little takeaway, but unfortunately the ball sort of goes wild, and there's none of our players there to pick it up that quickly. Darn shame. Jones, who just scored recently, is going to have the opportunity to play with the ball a little bit without it being tackled away. Who is this? That's Tony Ralston, definitely one of our best players here. But failed to get a tackle off there. It could just be that our players are not quite delivering. That cross into the center was hella deadly. And I mean, let's rewind here. I mean, on the defense, it doesn't feel like if anything, the 4-3-3 is better on defense than what we were doing before. I mean, we've got plenty of people over there. The wide pass across. These guys were not being covered. It's possible we have to tell McKenzie or Foster. I mean, I don't think like tightly marked makes much sense. And closing down wouldn't have hurt there, or wouldn't have helped. It could be, you know what could actually be a good idea here, is to say something like, don't be flexible, be slightly more structured. I mean, that's not exactly the same as stick to positions, with just different instruction, although it sort of does that. Crane delaying the offense, then gets it cleared over to Fraser. Beautiful defensive play by Crane. Can Paul Kearney get it forward? Yes, he can. To Crawford, to Stevenson, who's gonna, I was gonna say probably send it forward to Thomas, who he's got it offside, and it would have gone wide anyway. 2-0 down. I mean, and people are pretty comfortable with the 4-3-3 at this point, so I can't blame, like, the mentality of things being rusty. I could make a big tactical change, although I did not bring my wingers here. I don't have LeBaron suited up, and maybe I could have, so that I could have made a swap in the second half. But I think that's kind of maybe a little silly. Stevenson over to Musendo, Musendo to Crawford. Their pass completion is still really good. Musendo up to Stevenson, Stevenson across to Fraser. I mean, we could consider more direct play. We could consider changing the win-backs to be more attacking at this point, too. That might not be a bad idea. Wow. Crane bring it right to the middle. Stevenson, long shot. Goes well wide, though. I mean, we don't have to work the ball into the box or anything. We could go, rather than set our wing-backs to more offensive, I could encourage them to... well, yeah, I'm really not as comfortable here. I could encourage them to go a little further with a look for overlap, which would encourage them to do that. I mean, at this point, like, what do we have to lose from being a little bit more aggressively minded? The other thing I could do is actually get one of my defenders back here to sit a little further back, like a defensively minded ball-winning midfielder over here. He doesn't roam that much, but as a ball-winning midfielder, but we sit a little further back. He'd also have the tackle harder instruction. So that was Musendo, I think I just changed, right? So we'll see how he does. Thomas gets it to Crawford. Fraser. Lots of target opportunities. I mean, fairly short passing game here, but it's not necessarily so bad. Although, if we went with more direct, we'd probably send it out to the wings a lot more. Stevenson gets body blocked there, and we do lose possession of the ball once more. I'm thinking if we're going to do anything, we're going to change away from the short passing game. I think that's probably it. I mean, I, went to it. Yes, I'm not very happy about this. Show me something else. And I will ask you to show me something else. I'm going to say more direct passing after all. And look for overlap. Let's see if we can bring the wingbacks into play here as an offensive move. So this, again, is still a little bit of a test game. We're hoping that we're relatively safe in second position. Although a win for Kilmarnock here might bring them into fourth, so they might get, How was that a foul? Tony basically just stood there while the other guy ran into him. Whatever. Free kick didn't look like it led to anything. We've got a throw in here. Tony Ralston sends it to Musendo. I got to take a look at Musendo's first name. I don't remember what it is. Crawford to Stevenson. He's got a good target over there. I was going to say Gary Fraser is going to do his patented bomb. No, sort of a reverse kick to Paul Kearney. Back over to Stevenson. Scooches it forward to Thomas. We still have possession here. This defense, I don't know. We're having a hard time getting through the defense. Again, this would feel good if we were a little bit more wide. Which, I mean, we've got these set to attack. Like, I'm not sure what else we could really do to encourage the wingbacks to get involved into the play a little bit more. We've got to look for overlap. We've got direct passing. We've got them on attack. Most of the play is going to be centered in the middle, and it's just the way it is. I could encourage the team to play a little bit wider in general. So first substitution on the opposition has happened. We're 60 minutes in. It might be a good idea to do ours. We've got some other people with relatively low morale here. Well, Ross Doherty's got incredibly poor morale, mostly because he's complaining about not playing as much. Well, you want to play more, maybe you can consider doing that. Ryan Stevenson's just had a really bad game at, he's got a 6.3 rating. Let's bring in Alan Forrest. I think that's going to be okay. Attacking midfielder is going to be, I think, fine over here. We're going to do that. Keep in Jamie Thomas for now. That's going to be okay. Let's just do the one sub at this time. That's going to be fine. Listen, you got to go and, I've got faith in you. You can make the difference. Get in there. Get her done. And Paul Kearney's getting a little bit tired as well. So there'll probably be another sub up front. Man, I can't believe that wasn't a goal. We are starting to outshoot them, I just realized. 9-8, although we only have 2 on target, unfortunately. Possessions evened out. I mean, things have definitely developed better. 11-8 on shots now. Nothing is going in, though. We're going to go ahead and sub out Paul Kearney. We'll bring in Daryl Fortis over here. Keep the action up front. He's still not... he's actually a lot more comfortable playing as an explicit shadow striker, which does send him a little further forward, and he's also going to dribble more, get further forward. Doesn't say anything about, shooting more, although I think it's going to be a pretty aggressive role for that. We'll give it another 5 minutes, and we'll probably bring in Ross Doherty to give him a little bit of play as well at this point, because especially with 3 midfielders, I think it's a little bit more... open for some options. First yellow card of the match does get given to Robbie Crawford here. Nightingale clears it over to Tony Ralston, who's in the center. And he gets held up a little bit. There we go. Alan Forrest going to send it forward to Thomas. That's too far forward of the pass there, Mr. Forrest. Mr. Forrest, would you kindly be a little bit better with your passing game? There you go. To Thomas, who can send it back over. There we go to Fraser. Let's say Crawford's nice and wide over there. Excellent. Bit of a reset with Musendo, Gary Fraser, Daryl Fortis, right forward to Thomas, who's looking for someone to pass to. I'm wondering if the target man might be even better if we did have the wingers in here, because all the people we can pass to, I don't know, are a little close up. Let's swap out Robbie Crawford over here. We'll bring in, Ebu's really good. But yeah, we'll bring in some Ross Doherty over here. That's going to be fine. And, see if we can satisfy him a little bit. I mean, I probably should just bring in the stronger player, but honestly, the odds of getting 2 goals in the last 10 minutes are pretty low, so I think it's probably fine to just bring someone who's been complaining about not enough play time. Although, I think he's mostly been complaining about a lack of starts, to be honest, and this is not going to help things. 10 minutes of gameplay in a lost game. Fraser to Fortis. Fortis is not going to be able to move it forward. Fraser back to Doherty. Doherty, I was going to say, probably doing a reset to Musendo, who's always a little further back as the ball-winning midfielder. So it actually forms a nice connection. I kind of like that, right? because ball-winning midfielder, it's got the automatic hold position, right? So he doesn't roam as much. So he's always going to be a little bit more towards the center of pitch, and it's a nice focal point to play around. Fraser doing one of his patented long kicks, but it goes well wide and isn't even going to lead to a corner for us. So I think it's going to go down to a 2-0 loss here. I suppose we can do in the end. Let's go ahead and throw some attacking mentality on here. See if we can get onto the board. 14-8. This is not the first game where we've dramatically outshot someone. I mean, this isn't dramatic, but it's definitely happening. We've dramatically outshot someone and not really gotten much to show for it, which might be a general lack of finishing, or it might have something to do with the rain. Oh! Beautiful pass forward to Alan Forrest. But it does get scooped up easily by the goalkeeper. So it might be something to do with finishing. I mean, at this point, 2-1 outshooting is what's going on here. So not locking us down defensively. Are we going to be able to clear that out of there? Forrest, Doherty. What? Oh, wait, are we in the offense here? I guess so. I got really confused because of the camera angle. Normally, I only see that camera angle when we're defending. I can't believe we didn't score out of that. That looked like 100% we should have gotten a goal. I'm very confused. Like, 18-8 now with the shots on. Yellow card on the other side. Free kick from relatively close. Oh, just hit the outside post. Then gets cleared out of there by Konsa, but it is going to lead to a corner for us. So if we're going to get on the board, this might be our opportunity here. Bit of rain coming in. Fortis does get cleared by Chow. Alan Forrest is going to be able to pick it up. Back to Fortis, who centers it again. Nightingale to Crane. Crane with a nice, powerful shot. Just bounces off a body, though. What do we have defensively? We've got no one down there. Boyd's going to pick it up. We do have one. Who's that? Tony Ralston, who's going to try to apply a little bit of pressure. If he gets beat, okay, doesn't get beat. We've got plenty of defenders in position now. Morrison with an interesting attempt at a pass. Caleb Crane sends it far forward. Thomas couldn't get it, but Daryl Fortis is there to pick it up and probably pass it over to Tom. Okay, I don't know if that was a backward pass or if that ball got stolen away. That is very bizarre. 20-8 on the shots. Man, oh man, we've really played a much better second half. Much better second half. Unfortunately, it's not going to do anything for us. So, I think the structured play helped out a little bit. I mean, we've denied any extra shots on goal for them without losing any of our offensive potential. God, these shots have been so incredibly inaccurate. Very sad. So, I think we're about to get the whistle any second now, especially as the ball changes possession, most likely. We are on the offense here. We might get a chance to complete our play. It seems unlikely. There it is. Full time. 2-0 loss against our local rivals. As always, very disappointing. I am, in fact, going to be, I'm far from pleased about that. So, oh, because I have a new assistant manager, I'm doing all the press stuff. Really poor today. We have to improve in the future. I mean, come on. Smarten up, people. Post-match. Okay, I have to set in staff, responsibilities. Is a press category over here? No. First team. I'll do the tunnel interviews. But Terry Harris is going to handle the regular press interviews. That's going to be okay. So we're going to confirm that. I'm going to go and send my assistant over here. That's going to be fine. Well, yeah, troubled by rival defeat. I'm pretty troubled as well. So our next one is against Hibernian in 14 days! Okay, an away game against the Hibs. Obviously, we want something a bit more defensive, and that's actually one of the reasons we developed this, is to be a little bit more defensive and a little less exposed. So I think that's going to happen. Musendo, yeah, you're so comfortable in that role. But I think a defensively minded ball-winning midfielder is more what we're looking for. Can we do a swap? Is there someone else who would prefer playing that? Now, Gary Fraser, I want to keep you what you're doing. Yeah, Andy Gigan's not going to be ready, though. David Ihaja is only 50% sharp. Well, I guess we bring in Ebu Adams in that role. That's going to be quite clear and fine. I'm going to leave them as is. Hopefully there's no more injuries. I mean, we're probably still looking for something kind of like this. And yeah, I think in this structure, I don't think this is the Craig McGuffey kind of structure. So it is, I mean, he's going to be fine by the next match, but I think this is a good one to play when he's not available. Pope like that. So the question is, do we do this, or, well, we still get the possibility of, oh, you know what, the other thing we developed for a more defensive thing is the 5-3-2 narrow. Maybe that's what we're going to do against the Hibs. I think actually that makes a lot of sense. Our target man obviously is going to be Jamie Thomas. Our poacher is obviously going to be Craig McGuffey, who'll hopefully be ready, who'll hopefully be, yeah, ready to play by then. Central defenders, no. So I'm going to make a few swaps around, but this is indeed going to be the idea. Of course, we do have the problem a little bit that, you know, we have kind of a funky defensive situation, but not really that funky. Ricky Lammy's are a little bit better than Will Nightingale. That's going to be fine. Caleb Crane on the right is going to be okay. And then, yeah, so we wouldn't be starting Stevenson, but I think that's going to be okay. In terms of sub, Alan Forrest and Tom Pope are probably good options. We've got a central defender there. Do we have a sub in here that's not... Yeah, it looks like the best people for filling in the positions are either in those positions or in the substitute list. So probably something like this is what we're going to look for. In terms of instructions, I don't know if we need any specific instructions over here. I think just general mix all the things is going to be a-okay. How's our familiarity here? Yeah, still have some work to do here. Probably our match prep will just be match tactics, just to work on that a little bit. Counter mentality we're still not super comfortable with. It's a little bit surprising. I don't know why that's necessarily the case. So there's going to be some issues with that, but this might be the best thing to do against the Hibs to lock them down. So we'll have to see. Thank you very much for watching, folks. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.